OKS Youth Ministry Podcast, where three of the OKS Youth Ministers talk about youth ministry. I'm Michael Deese, and I'm joined by Hunter Puckett here in the room with me, and Jeremy Crow on some island on a beach somewhere. It's pretty incredible. So, anyways,
in a remote location.
In a legitimate remote location.
But we will say he is at a beach.
Yes.
So you could narrow that down a little bit.
Yeah,
it's not so remote that I don't have cell phone service. So.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. There is a cell phone tower somewhere close because you have really good reception. So,
yeah.
Thank you. I've been working on it.
I could tell.
Yeah. But hey, we're back.
Yeah, we've missed 2 weeks in a row. We did it.
So here's the cool thing. The first thing is we've never claimed to have it figured out. I think you can guess that from the title of our title of our episodes and everything. The second thing is this is also something that we're learning. This is our first summer that we've had a podcast. We're trying to deal with it. We didn't know how the summer would look as far as all of us being gone and different events. So we've tried our best to make it consistent. I think we're going to draw some different game plans for next summer.
Yeah.
But we do appreciate y'all sticking with us throughout this summer as we learn all three of our schedules and just kind of what that's going to look like for next summer.
I mean, we had like two or three different like pre-recorded episodes ready to go, and it just still, even then, we used them all, and then we tried to use even more, and we've just run out of episodes. So,
well, and the other thing is, I don't think we have promised that we would weekly release. Have we promised that? Because you would think, based on talking to some of my students, that we did promise that.
Oh,
I'm very upset with me that we haven't.
Yeah,
there's a chance we promised that.
We do say
I'm checking now.
At the end of the episode, I say we will have episodes every Wednesday.
Yeah, every Wednesday.
So I've lied to all of our listeners and the whole world.
So we do.
I need to repent.
We owe them 2 episodes.
We need to hurry up and do it. I tell you what.
But we also gave them a free episode with that one
yet?
Halloween costume, or the Halloween episode.
That's true. We gave them a bonus episode. So
yeah. So we only owe them one.
Hey, let me ask you this: are y'all tired yet?
Yeah.
Mid-late July.
Oh yeah, exhausted.
Like whooped. And I know, like, I don't know about you guys, when it hits like the stage of like maybe July 4th-ish, July 10th, somewhere in there, it starts setting in. Like that's usually after the bulk of our trip. And at that point, I'm just like, man, when's this thing ending?
Yeah, I could imagine you being extremely exhausted right now, sitting on the beach.
Yeah, just listening to the waves.
While the interns are back at Coleman, working really hard, slaving away.
Well, it actually worked out perfectly because my interns had their vacation week. Like we give them 1 week out, and they happen to both take it this week.
Oh, that's convenient.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah.
Nothing's getting done in Coleman.
That's right. Well, no, Steve's
kids
good
are
enough.
on their own.
Steve's good enough. He'll do it all himself. He's the man.
Man, he's been killing it in his sermon series.
Yeah, he's awesome.
But yeah, the summer is winding down though. I think I have Lift You next week, and then after that, kids are going back to school. So free plug though.
What Lift You is.
Hey, free plug real quick. So Lift You is a college week at Maywood Christian Camp. It's for anyone that has just graduated high school up to someone who's just graduated college. And it is, I say a week long. It's Sunday through Thursday. We leave Thursday morning. But it is a great camp. This is our, 4th or 5th year of having this camp. We're very excited. Yeah. It does not fill up. So if you're listening and you're interested in going to Lift You, it has not filled up. You can show up the day of and register for camp. And
it's that way.
It's only like $50. I mean, you really can't beat it. The Maywood has really blessed us with this week of camp, and they're allowing these kids to come over there and really dive in for a very low cost.
Yeah, pretty awesome.
That $50 cost is not necessarily just because it's that cheap, but because campus ministries help support this thing to make it more manageable for the students, right?
Yes, and we have some sponsoring congregations and some other things that allow that to work too. But Maywood does eat a chunk of it as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah, pretty awesome. All right, well, I think this is a fun topic to talk about. Where, man, I will just tell you, It's important to rest. It's important to take vacation, take time for yourself, and just enjoy life when you are in ministry. So, Jeremy, why don't you share with us a time that you were on vacation and you had to wake up super early and call into a podcast instead of enjoying your vacation? Okay.
So I told everybody I was going to be recording this morning. That I'd go down to the beach so that I wouldn't be loud and bother anybody, wake them up. Because the thing is, like, we're an hour ahead of y'all, and I knew everybody'd be stirring, whatever. And so as I was, getting ready for bed, my mother-in-law was like, "Well, if you're already going to be down there, just go ahead and carry the tent down to the beach." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I brought it down, got it set up, I staked this baby down. My father-in-law came down, helped me, and I'm just chilling in a lawn, not a lawn chair, lounge chair. What did they call it?
Yeah.
Relaxing, watching the waves. There's some birds flying over. There's a guy down here fishing to my left.
Would you say that you're maxing, relaxing, and acting all cool?
Yes. Shooting some b-ball outside of the school. And so I am just chilling out here. I got the iPad with my notes here, just relax.
Man.
But we're I told you I could record one, maybe two, but probably just one. I don't know, because I've got to get to something pretty important here in a little bit. I've got a golf tee time scheduled.
Oh, that's super important.
At the St. Joseph Bay Golf Club.
I don't know if our listeners know how big of a golf fan Michael is.
Oh, yeah.
And just loves playing golf.
Oh, he loves golf.
It's the best.
So if you're ever just wanting to hang out with Michael, invite him over to play some golf at your local golf course.
Yeah, it's the best. It's
Michael,
great.
did you go that day with us and just ride the cart?
Yeah.
Did that happen?
I did.
Did you love it? Just watching everybody else golf?
No. No, I did not.
I think it would be the opposite of love.
I hated that whole day.
Let me ask this about rest, guys. Important part of resting at the beach. Is there anything better than watching your kid catch a crab with their little flashlight running along the beach at like 10 o'clock at night?
Yes.
With bare hands?
Yeah. Well, they use human hands.
Oh.
Get it? He said bare hands and he said human hands. You get it?
With their human hands only, no net.
It's funny because it's a pun.
Yeah, yeah.
No, man, we were out here crab hunting last night. It was awesome. I love it.
Hey, and the beach that you're at that we're not going to mention online is a fantastic place to catch some crabs too.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you guys this. When is a time that you have tried to rest or relax or take a break, vacation, whatever, and it just didn't work? Like
every time
the ministry job took back over.
Every single time that I've ever tried to take a break.
That's why Julie and I really swapped to national parks for our vacation. And one is because I love animals, and I do enjoy the beach. Don't get me wrong, but it's just there's something special about national parks, getting to see animals, God's creation. I know the beach is beautiful too, but there's no cell phone service in some of these places. So I absolutely love that. We went on a cruise one time, and that was great because no cell phone service. But anytime I have cell phone service, I feel bad not doing something ministry related.
Yeah.
What I have done in the past, there was one time me and April went to Disney World, and it was right when iPhones came out with that focus thing where you you could just say that you're away from your phone or whatever. And so I set that up, and then every time somebody sent me a text, I had it set to where it would send them a text, and it just said, "Hey, I'm at the top of Space Mountain right now. I can't talk. I'll have to call you back later, or I'll have to text you back later," or something like that. And what was really cool about that was I didn't ever check my phone unless I was taking a picture and noticed it. Unless I took my phone out to take pictures of whatever we were doing or whatever, I never even noticed that people were texting me or calling me. And so that was a really good just rest time for me being on vacation. And, so that was one time where it actually succeeded. Every other time I feel like I just always, if I see it, then I just go with it,
Well, because you have this innate sense of guilt that you're leaving somebody hanging or you're letting somebody down or whatever. And I'll tell you one thing that I found that's important, and I've been trying to practice this week. I'm not perfect at this. I kind of stink at this, to be honest. But is like when someone asks me for something at church, which this sounds super like a jerk, okay? But I'll say something like, "Hey, I don't really know right now, but I'm away on vacation this week. Check with," and I'll give them somebody else a call, which seems like such a jerk thing to do. But what I'm trying to do is make sure, they understand, hey, I noticed that you asked for something, but right now I'm away, right? And being open with that and honest with that. And the other thing is communicating on the front end with people, letting them know, like, hey, I'm going to be out of town, next week. And most people realize that and they won't bother you. And the ones that do, that's not because they want to bother you. They just didn't think about it. They're so used to you being around and accessible.
Right. Yeah. I have.
They don't care about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Were we diving into that about letting people know that we're away, like preparing to be gone?
Yeah. Might as well.
Yeah.
I mean, we can do that now. And really how important that is to, one, to let people know that you're going to be gone so they know not to bother you. But two, to make sure that the rest of your week is good with you being gone.
Yeah.
Jeremy has interns, as he mentioned earlier, and luckily, their vacation was also this week as well. But imagine if it wasn't. The time that Jeremy would have to spend before his vacation getting things set up for his interns while he's gone, so they can do that. Not only that, like for me, if I leave, it's Bible class on Sunday mornings and Wednesday nights. It's different, just office tasks, I guess you would say, that you have to make sure are covered before you leave.
Yeah. So, like, if you have a pet, you need to make sure that pet is, taken care of. It has somewhere to go, somebody that's going to feed it, and all that stuff. Or if you have classes somebody pick up your mail if you're going to be gone for extended amount of time. Classes that you're teaching, make sure that you have somebody that is filling in for all your classes and all of the responsibilities that you have at the church. So I typically will get, like, if I'm on vacation or something and they need a contact, I typically will get one of the adult dads, like one of the youth deacons or one of the elders, to kind of take over for that, information area. And so there's a lot of different things that you could do to help get ready for leaving.
Guys, there is a crab staring me in the eye right now. I mean, it is staring me down sitting here.
Yeah.
It's kind of intimidating. So no, I think you're right. Like having these things prepped and having, knowing what you're doing, what you're going to have to take care of while you're gone. And, like you said, I do have the luxury of, I don't have to deal with that all week. But the last half of my week, my interns will be back, right? And they're going to be running a couple of things, and they know what they're doing. They're doing a great job. But yeah, just as silly as it may sound, when you're away, it's sometimes more stressful because you can't just get it done. You have to depend on someone else to get it done, and you're having to check in and make sure they did get it done. And that creates a little bit of frustration or anxiety or whatever when you're away too.
Yeah.
Well, and I wouldn't say anxiety, but just the fear that something's going to happen while you're gone. You pour your life into these kids, and the one time you take a vacation, it's like something big might come up, and you're always worried
Somebody's
about
grandma
that.
passes away, or family goes through a divorce, or
and you're really worried about that, and you want to have your phone off, but you also need it on just in case something does happen. You do need to call somebody, and I think it's understanding that it's okay to do some work while you're gone, like along those ends, not just busy work or something like that. But if something does pop up, it is okay to make a phone call. But do try and separate yourself, because rest is important, and it helps with burnout in ministry. It helps with you getting recharged. It helps with you coming back and being ready to hit the ground running. And maybe you have some ideas while you're on vacation where you're able to sit down and actually sit in silence for a little bit, different things on those lines. But really what we see even throughout the Bible is how important rest is.
Yeah.
We see God resting. We see Jesus resting. We see, and not only resting, going off and being by themselves, finding a secluded place to sit in silence.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why in Exodus, the Sabbath day was a command. and not just, hey, maybe you should take a little break, get you a little breaky every week. No, it's like, no, this is what you're going to do. You're going to keep it holy, and you're going to take a break. And that is just, I think the Bible does a great job of explaining that we've got to find time to rest. And I've noticed that when I'm not rested, whenever I have a kid that asks a dumb question, which is basically every day, whenever they say, hey, what time are we going to do this? Instead of being my normal self, and I'm just like, we're going to do this, and we're, just kind of answer them. I'm like, what do you think? What do you think? Like, I've got it written down on a piece of paper that I gave you, like just 5 seconds ago. Like, just look at the paper.
Oh, dude, we've been doing really Monday night togethers for the past 10 years. Every Monday night at 6:00. I'll have a kid come up. Hey, what time's M&T? Well, it's been at 6:00 for the past 10 years, so I'm going to say 6:00.
But I've noticed that when I'm not getting proper rest, whether it's sleep or whether it's just time away or whatever, that I start getting to be a little bit of a smart aleck and letting that kind of win a lot more often than normal.
Well, you feel it at the end of camps, retreats, everything like that, just because you're so tired too.
Yeah, and so that's the reason why we need rest. We've got to find a way to back off of whatever we're doing, whether it's work related or whatever's stressing us out, and just take some time to regroup and rethink through things, and then we can come back in a healthier way. So, what do y'all think about?
And that work's going to be there when you get back, man. I mean, it's not like it's going to go away and you'll never have the chance to do it. Like, it'll be there. Whatever you needed to take care of will be there.
I think there's another pro to taking a rest, and what I mean by taking a vacation, going off somewhere, is getting to see another church. Not that you don't love your church and you love worshiping with your church, but as ministers, we don't get to leave our church a whole lot.
Yeah.
You think of your members who go and take 3 or 4 or 5, however many vacations a year, they just leave for the weekend, and they're getting to go and they're worshiping with another church. The joys of getting to sit down and, for us, be a member. I wouldn't say a member because you're visiting that church, but just be what we're gonna say is a normal church member for that Sunday morning, where you show up, you have no duties that you need to do. There's nothing you need to take care of. No kids are coming up to you. You just simply get to sit down and worship God. Yeah, and I think there's a great benefit to that as well.
Let me comment to that for just a second. Not a vacation trip, but I know we have some deacons, we have some parents that listen to this. Not as many as obviously guys that work in full-time youth ministry, but man, every now and then it's really awesome if you can just say to your youth minister, hey dude, can I teach for you next Sunday? Like, it doesn't have to be a quarter, right? Just, hey, I'm going to give you a week, and why don't you go to class with your wife, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you can give them a quarter, that's incredible. But even just a Sunday to say, hey, I know you're not going to be out of town. I know you don't necessarily need a sub, but I've got something I've been wanting to talk to the teams about. Do you care if I just take a week? Whether you got something you need to talk to the teams about or not, give them that week, just every now and then, because it's incredible how much rest going to church on a Sunday, even at your home congregation where you work, going to church on a Sunday and not being in charge of something.
Yeah.
And just getting you to go and be a part of worship, and not worry about, oh, did I forget to do this? Did this get checked off?
Yeah. And Pete Scazzaro, in his book, The Emotionally Healthy Leader, he also has a podcast that I highly recommend. He's very, very good at helping you recognize when you need rest and how you need rest. And he's really big into saying like that rest is a form of worship, where we can whether it's that the rest itself is worship or not, but we can actually take time as a rest and just say, God, thank you for giving me this time to just rest. Thank you for allowing this to happen. I'm enjoying myself being able to have no responsibilities and being able to just kind of sit down and rest, And so I have read that book and I listen to the podcast semi-regularly. It's actually probably been a year since I've listened to it, but
not as regularly as people should listen to the OKS Youth Ministry.
That's
podcast.
True. That's very true. Yeah,
that's right.
But I did listen to it, very often, and he is very big on taking your rest days and making sure that you're getting rest in, because God is providing that whole thing. He even has said, I don't know if this is exactly a quote from him, but this is something that he said on the podcast that we have on our notes. It just says, if you don't choose a Sabbath will choose you, and probably through illness or breakdown. How true is that for you, Jeremy?
Man, you're not kidding, man. That idea of you're going to, at some point, you're going to take a break, whether it's out of frustration and anger and animosity, or whether it's out of choice, right? You're going to hit a place where you kind of hit a wall, and you need that rest. I want to say the book you just referenced,
emotionally healthy leader.
Yeah, I want to say you talked about that at the retreat you did on Empty Cup, which, by the way, put a plug in. I don't know if that's on our website yet, but it will be at some point as a retreat material. But talking about how, when we ourselves have an empty cup, we can't pour that cup out to someone else. Am I right?
Yeah.
That was part of your notes on that? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. If your cup is empty from you giving and giving and giving, and not taking in anything, then you have nothing to offer. Your cup is completely empty, and so you have nothing to offer. So that's definitely part of what he teaches. Definitely.
Well, and a big thing too is realizing that rest isn't just on vacation. It's not just the 2, 3, 4 weeks you get on vacation every year as a minister. It's you taking a day throughout the week to kind of unplug from ministry. Oftentimes we think of vacation and you just get to go and do whatever you want, but there's physical rest, there's mental rest, there's spiritual rest, and making sure we're becoming well-rounded in that. I don't think it's a secret. We talk about a lot. There's a lot of burnout in ministry, and I think it's because people don't understand or know how to rest.
Yeah.
And they feel like they have to work, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And if they don't, they're not a good minister. They're not successful in what they're doing, or it doesn't, it's going in vain. I used to always say that, if the devil's working, I'm working, but there is a need for rest. There's a need for you to take care of yourself, for that physical rest, the sleep, the just getting rejuvenated. We just got back from Legacy at Faulkner. It was a great event, but like when I get back, like I'm exhausted from those. Same thing with the retreat, same thing with Maywood, or anything that we do, Exposure, CYC, anything that we do, like you get back exhausted, and it's to take time on that day or that Monday, just to sit back, wake up a little bit later, go into work, just move a little bit slower.
Yeah.
The mental and emotional side as well, unplugging, being silent.
Let me give a shout out to the universities that do those camps, though, like what you're talking about, Legacy. I know Freed Hardeman does Horizons and
Rush,
Impact at Lipscomb. One of the things that they do is they have college students work as the counselors for the week. Is that the same at Faulkner? Students who
no,
help with it?
No, there's a board of Legacy, and then it's really just at Faulkner. But they had a fantastic weekend. It was great. Kids loved it. Big shout out to those Legacy guys, because they absolutely killed it. But it was very laid back for me in particular. I wasn't in charge of a team. It was my first time being there. I had the opportunity to speak, but I wasn't, specifically in charge of like a large group of people other than just my kids I brought.
So the thing I was going to say, like Michael and I go to Uplift. The thing that I love the most about Uplift, and this sounds so lazy, I know, but it's run by the college students at Harding. And Michael, you can speak to this too, but it's one of my most restful weeks of the year. Even though I'm at work, I get to spend time with my students and just hang out and build a relationship. And I'm not in charge of running things, right? I just get to be there and present with them, hang out. And I look forward to that week more than just about any other trip, because you literally get to rest and just hang out, and be with people.
Well, that's kind of like what it's the whole thing of like, when do you actually get to spend time with your kids? And that's why Uplift is one of my favorite trips, is because I'm usually with a bunch of kids the whole week. I'm not having to, I got to find, I'm leading singing, or I'm speaking, or I'm planning out something, or I'm trying to get tickets to some event because we're in a different town, and none of that stuff happens. Like, you just get to go and spend time with your kids the whole week. And so you're going to morning Uplift, you're going to the Bible classes, you're doing just whatever you want to do with your teenagers the whole time. And They even have like free time where you get to just hang out with your kids, and it's awesome. That's my favorite. That's why it's my favorite thing to do.
The rest.
Is just you get to rest and you're just hanging out with kids. Like it's a lot of fun.
And you don't stay with them at night.
No, you don't.
Hey, let me ask this.
You stay in a separate
and Hunter,
dorm.
you might can speak to this too, but one of the things that I think is important with like this taking rest, helping your congregation understand that is what healthy leadership looks like, right? And we don't mean that you're resting all the time, guys. You know what we're talking about with this. It's not like you're just constantly saying, "Oh, I need a vacation." No, but you're teaching your congregation this is a healthy way in which a leader looks. And the other thing is, we are modeling for our students that this matters, because then I don't know about y'all, but my kids are exhausted most of the time. My teens stay whooped from AAU basketball or summer workouts or fill in the blank, even the academia kind of stuff. Just the stress that they put on themselves to perform in some way, like a college athlete or a scholar, when they're 15 and they're exhausted.
Yeah.
Do y'all experience that with your students, like that they just look like they are spent all the time?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's a constant thing too, and it's not getting better over the years. Like they're getting more tired. They're doing more. They're expected more. Growing up playing travel baseball, I heard a parent one time here recently say that they're expecting way too much, and nowhere outside of travel baseball are you playing 5 games in one day. The MLB you might play 2 max in one day. You might have a doubleheader. Same with college. But it's really dragging them down as a whole. Something that the Madison Church of Christ and Richard does for the summer is they have 1 week that they plan as like a dead week during the summer.
Yeah.
And like I laughed about it because like football has a dead week, and like your sports they have dead
like
weeks
their youth
at school.
Ministry does?
Yeah, but like their youth ministry has
That's
a
so
dead
cool.
week.
We have a dead week.
And it's cool because like then you can kind of explain to parents. I don't know how that would go with my group. Like you'd explain to parents like, hey, this is when you can take your vacation. And it might be we'll just say July 4th week. That's growing up. That was our dead week at school. Like it might be the July 4th week. It's like, hey, I just want y'all to know nothing youth related is going to happen during this week.
You're not missing
I'd strongly encourage you to take your vacations this week. You might still be in the office. For me, I'd definitely still come into the office, but it'd be one of those things where you have no youth things for that week. And those kids, whether they go on vacation or not, they get to rest.
Yeah. We have that. That's what I do that. I've done that for a while.
I'm going to start that this year.
Well,
actually,
the last 2 years I have done that.
What week do you do it? July 4th? Okay.
Yeah, 4th of July.
I've been thinking about that too.
I always do it. Now this year we did
area-wide week sabbatical.
No, that would be awesome. But we did do on Thursdays we go eat with the teenagers, so we go out to lunch with them. And we did do that, but outside of that, and we only had 2 kids show up because I told them it's going to be dead week and everybody playing their vacations and stuff that week. But we had 2 kids. We ate lunch and we kind of hung out a little bit, and then we left, and that was it. And I said we're not playing games or anything afterward. Like we're just going to eat and then we're going to go. And I thought that it has worked out really well for me. Usually because I'm out of town on the 4th of July. We always we'll go out of town. And it's my son's birthday, which is his birthday is the 4th of July. My wife's birthday is July 8th. And so we've just got a lot of stuff right there.
Just
so
a week long celebrating family.
Yeah. So we just I just say I'm going to be with my family, and it would be good if y'all were with yours.
Well, and Jeremy and I have talked about this before. Oh, you go ahead, Jeremy.
I was just going to say, would you say that is the optimal week for you in terms of when you need that rest in ministry too? Like
it
that
definitely
midpoint in the
is.
summer?
Yeah. Because usually June is always filled up. Like I'm completely full
covered
in June. But then the week
we hit it hard,
Yeah.
The summer starts, it's like boom, boom, boom.
Well, in our first week of summer is Maywood.
Right.
So we're really busy doing that. But Jeremy and I have talked about it before, and and Jeremy and I are in different seasons of ministry, is what we'll say. Not because he's been in it long. No. But his kids are older. So when we talk about, when me and Jeremy talk about vacations, my wife and I and Brooklyn, our 3-year-old, we take vacations, August, September, outside of the summer. So I don't feel like I'm missing anything of the summer. But, Jeremy's kids are in school. So it's a lot harder for him to take a vacation September, October, August, September, October, when your kids are in school.
Yeah.
So then you have to kind of change what you're doing, and and you start to have summer vacations. A lot of Jeremy's family, we can bleep this out if you don't want this out, but a lot of Jeremy's family are teachers. So they, they're expected, or he's expected to vacation during the summer because most of the family can vacation during the summer.
Right.
So it's a big change. So I feel like with me adding that dead week, and I love that Michael does that as well. With me adding that dead week, it's going to allow for the future of vacations to be fairly smooth as well.
Yeah.
And I would say this: when you're getting a new job, those guys that are starting new into ministry, and you need to have a conversation with your elders about if you're going to take a vacation in summer. Now, again, Hunter doesn't have to do it in summer because of the age of his children. I do now. If you're going to do that, man, you better have some clear communication about that, because it creates some frustration and some resentment when people think, well, this is the busiest time of the summer. Why is he out of town, right? And I've had those kind of conversations before with parents and with elders. Why do you take a vacation in the summer? You should be busy. It's when the kids are out of school, whatever. You got to have some clear communication about that. The expectation be, understood.
Yeah. I always have this feeling of whenever I'm missing a Sunday or a Wednesday, I have this feeling like, well, if I'm not there, I don't know how that's going to go. And again, that is not
who's upset with me.
Yeah. Or somebody's going to be upset that I wasn't there, and they're probably going to say something, or that, and so that thing is really just pride that kind of fuels those thoughts. There are other people in the church that are better teachers than me, and I need to recognize that instead of thinking that I'm the best and I'm the only one that can do anything.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's brought to you very, very, very obviously, and sometimes it's pretty subtle. But
yeah.
It's also important that we talk about how we want, our teenagers are models for the younger kids, and they are, an example. They're being an example, but also think about yourself as an example to all of your students and what that looks like. And if they see someone who is constantly doing things and burn out, they're going to use that as an example of how they should live their life. And so it's important for us to know, hey, it's important to take breaks and spend time with your family, and it's important their students see you prioritize your family first, work second. That's true. Yes, 100%.
We've talked about that before, but
yeah.
Hey, let me ask you this: the time to schedule your rest is when you're exhausted, burnout, and angry, right?
That's exactly right.
Right.
Yeah, that's the best time to do it.
No,
right? When's the best time to schedule it?
Before you get angry.
Yeah, well before you need it. Thinking ahead, planning ahead, recognizing your patterns in ministry, your rhythm, and knowing when you're going to need it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know about y'all, but that season of after October, there's a need for just a minute of rest. Maybe like a day trip with your family, or it might be October for some reason just hits really heavy.
Yeah.
That after Lads to Leaders, that moment after Easter weekend, that's a pretty important season or rhythm that, I need rest. Finding those times and being kind of intentional about planning those is a big deal, I think.
Yeah.
Hey, Michael, let me ask you this. If you don't use your vacation days, how much more do you get paid when you don't use them?
You don't get paid more. You just lose your vacation days that you're.
And they don't roll over.
They don't give you extra money because you worked so hard and diligently skipped your vacation?
No, they don't. Nobody does, actually, in case you didn't know that. But
right.
You're definitely they are paying you for your whatever, if you get 1 week of vacation, 2 weeks of vacation, whatever it is, they are literally paying you to take a vacation. They are saying, we want you to take 2 weeks of vacation, and you need to do that. And so, it's important for us to take advantage of that. They want us to go on vacation, whether whether the church realizes it or not. They are paying you to go on vacation, and so it's important to do that, to take advantage of those days.
And I'll say this: Michael was blessed with somebody there at Hartselle, and I don't even know if anybody listens to it, but Tim Brown, man, he seems like he is an advocate and a defender of you and your time and your family. And it seems like he's someone that if he saw that you needed rest, I think he would step in and say, hey, Michael, I've got this week. you go away. Go
Timmy.
go get a minute with your family. Go get a minute. Am I wrong in that? That seems like his personality.
That sounds just like Tim.
Like
except
you need this. Go rest.
He would not allow me to do anything. He would be like, "No, get away. You're not doing anything. Go.
You're done."
In fact, we went on this retreat, our senior high retreat. Tim came, and Tim doesn't. He works a lot, so he doesn't get a lot of time where he's able to go. He has to ask off several weeks beforehand in order to get time off, and he went on this retreat with us. We went up to Gatlinburg, and the plan was like this retreat is very laid back, and we just kind of do our own thing. We're on our own time. We just it's very laid back, and so I was like, I'll just get up and cook pancakes each morning because we're not eating breakfast until 9, right? I mean, it was 9 a.m. before we even get up and start moving around. And so I was like, I'll just get up because I'm going to be awake. So I'm just going to get up and I'll go fix the pancakes and cook some bacon. And that way, when everybody starts waking up, they'll be there for me. And I wake up and I go over to cook the stuff. And Tim is over there cooking everything already. And he was like, dude, go back to sleep. What are you doing? And I was like, I can't sleep past this time.
No, he doesn't sleep well anyways. So.
And so Tim was up there just cooking breakfast. He did that every morning. And every morning I would be right there beside him just hanging out.
Hey,
but he was like,
watching.
I just want to give you a break. He was like, you're doing this and you're doing this and you're doing this and you're doing that. I just want to give you a break. You don't have to cook. I'll take care of it.
Hey, we had when we were in Tullahoma, when I was young and dumb in ministry and didn't have many years experience yet, and I was at this. It was like my first retreat with the Cedar Lane congregation, and I got there and we were at this retreat, and Jessica and I, we'd been married a little over a year, and I'd been working in ministry for a few years, but like not at this size of a congregation where had never had youth deacons like this before, and I had 5 when I got to Tullahoma. And we're at this first retreat, and Bob Ford is one of our youth deacons at the time. Bob takes over something that really was my responsibility to do, and he and his wife Janet were working on it. And Jessica kind of got a little offended because it was like somebody's getting in our space or our territory or whatever. Because I was stupid at the time. I had no wisdom about this. I didn't know how important this was. But Bob did, right? He had been around enough. He had spent enough time in the work world to know that a man needs rest and needs time with his family. And he was like, no, look, man, I've got this. You go spend time with your wife and y'all get to know these teams. We'll take care of these tasks, right? And it's so important to have people in your church that get that understand it, and that help prioritize that for you, because the reality is sometimes you don't do that well. And I, even now, I'm 20 years in, I still screw up and don't do this well. And so it's really good. Hey, let me ask y'all this, and I know we're getting kind of towards the end here, but I went to a class at NCYM a few years ago, and David Knox, I don't know if you ever knew David Knox, he was teaching this, and he talked about how he has things kind of like what Michael said about when he was at Disney, setting up a routine on his phone that sets up something. He had kind of an auto response thing that after 9 p.m., his phone switched into this do not disturb mode that more or less said, hey, this is the situation, I'm taking time away with my family, or I'm resting, or I'm, whatever. I don't respond to things after this time, but I will respond at, 9 a.m. tomorrow in the office. If this is an emergency situation, call this number. He had like an emergency, like if it was something kind of like, you said, hey, something really bad happened, the kid was in a bad wreck or whatever, and I need to get in touch with you at 1 a.m. They could bypass his system, but what it did was told his congregation, I'm prioritizing rest with my family. I'm prioritizing rest away from ministry at certain times of my life. And I thought that was so wise, man. I thought that was such a cool thing. Have y'all done anything like that before, or have any kind of system like that? Do you prioritize that yet?
I have been saying I'm going to do something like that for like 5 years. But no, I have not started doing that.
I have not been saying I would do something like that, but it does sound really smart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and he said it changed his whole perspective, and that bitterness and that frustration he would get with ministry. He said that, almost without fail, that kind of changed it immediately, because, people knew, hey, he's at work, his office hours, he's, whatever. And when he was off the clock, they let him be off the clock. And people, once they call a couple of times and they get the message that says, hey, I'm not available right now, but I'll get back with you at 9, they started to understand, hey, from 9 to 9, He's not on the clock.
Yeah, right.
He can't be accessed.
Yeah. And I think that's important to just make sure before you do this, you don't want to just be like, okay, I'm going to take next week off and then just don't go into work. Make sure that you're communicating all of these things with your leadership, with your elders, with your staff, whoever you're working with, your youth group, your parents. Like, don't just all of a sudden one day you're like, okay, we're just not doing anything this week. Make sure that this is overly communicated. That, hey, this is how I'm going to do. If you're going to do that thing from 9 to 9, you need to say to the staff, to the elders, hey, from 9 p.m. to 9 a.m., I'm not going to be accepting phone calls or responding to text messages or anything. Make sure that that's communicated, because if it's not, you're going to wind up finding yourself with a lot of angry people, where you just say, hey, this week we're not doing anything. And then you're going to go, no, you need to make sure that this is communicated and everything. And it kind of goes back to what we said with planning ahead of time, making sure that you schedule the rest before you need it. If you do it while you're tired, you're not going to think to tell other people when you're taking your rest. And so make sure that you're prioritizing it, planning it out, have your rest time and rest period, and take it.
And I do want to mention, we're talking about rest, we're talking about vacation, but there are other types of rest as well. And I do want to plug just a couple of them right now. Jeremy mentioned one just a minute ago, but it's retreats for youth ministers or for ministers. We all three of us went to Revive this year. I think we all loved it. Just getting away from everything, getting to hang out with other youth ministers. It's very encouraging. M2Y is also a big one. You get to go and you get to, this year we're back in Gatlinburg. You get to sit around and you get to talk with other youth ministers. NCYM. Yeah. Yeah. So you have NCYM is another one, and they're all, fantastic events, but it's a place and a time where you get to step away. And it's also very encouraging because you get to be surrounded by other youth ministers who are also most likely having the same struggles as you. And you get to talk with them and get new ideas and just get re-energized about ministry. But it's a great way to also take a rest as well.
Yeah.
Hey, one of the things that they say at NCYM on the first night is the guy gets up there on stage and he's like, guys, listen, here's what we're here for. Like what you just said, we're here to rejuvenate. We're here to get ideas. We're here to share. And he said, you may be here this week and you just need to chill in the hotel room and sleep. He's like, if that's what you need to do, he said, no one's calling your elders to tell them that you missed this class. He said, and honestly, I'll give you my notes from the class so it looks like you went to the class if that's what you need. He said, because you may be at a place this week where you just need to chill in the hotel room, or you need to go with your wife out to eat, or you need to, he said, we get it. He said, obviously, go to some classes, but if you need to share some notes with somebody so that you can get a little time too, he said, that's what you're here for.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important, guys protecting each other. The other side of that is, Hunter, you work with a fellow minister, right? You work with Chris, Michael, you work with Justin, I work with Steve. I think if we understand the importance of protecting rest for ourselves, I think it's important that we recognize the need for rest in our coworkers and we protect that for them too, even when they don't realize it. I know that Chris is one of the hardest working guys I've ever seen. And sometimes he is just exhausted. And I think, Hunter, his role sometimes is probably to step in and say, hey, dude, let me teach this week. Or, hey, let me lead that thing this week. Why don't you take a minute, right? Get your wife, y'all go out to eat. I'll handle that class, Thursday night, whatever. Having those kind of moments where you protect your coworkers and help them choose rest, I think is important.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I wanted to recommend a few books before we kind of close out. Like I said earlier, The Emotionally Healthy Leader by Pete Scazzero. It's very, very good. Highly recommend that book. There's also a book that I have not personally read but has been recommended that's called Leading on Empty by Wayne Cordero. Apparently, you have to have Arrow as your last name in order to write books about taking rests and stuff. There's also Ordering Your Private World by Gordon MacDonald Dorough.
Yeah, I read that.
It's really good. And then there's another book that I read for one of the classes that I'm taking.
Arrow.
yeah. There's also
Green
another
Arrow.
book that's called, let me find it, The Leader's Journey. And that is by Jim Harrington, Tricia Taylor, and Robert Creech. And I highly recommend that book. It is incredible. So make sure that you're staying busy, but not too busy. So take some rests. And
Hey,
I
read
would
those
like
in your
to.
office hours. Don't waste your vacation reading those.
Oh yeah,
They're
Duh.
workbooks.
They're workbooks. So I want to challenge all of the youth ministers out there. Block off one intentional day every week. Just from here on out, block off one intentional day where you're saying, I am not going to work unless there is some huge emergency where I need to do ministry, but just block off one day. And usually for me, that's a Friday. I take my Fridays off. And that's when I try to just say, but every now and then, there's times where I have to work on a Friday and I don't like it, but that's what I have to do. And so I'll take that time to just not work, not do anything, and just spend time with my family and whatever I need to do.
Well, Michael, with that, what you just said is, hey, Friday's an off day, right? For me as well. Our office is closed on Friday. But you know what? Friday is not an off day when it's retreat or when it's camp or whatever.
That's right.
And so the importance of, hey, I missed Friday off day, take it on Monday, right? And let your coworkers know, let your staff know, like, hey, I'm just getting back from this 5-day trip. I'm taking the next day off. Right? I won't be in the office. Don't expect me to show up.
Well, that's whenever I show up after a retreat, Jan's like, well, I figured you to take the day off. What are you doing here?
Yep.
When it's realizing that you can move that day around.
Yeah.
It's as long as you communicate it well, you can move your days off around. It's not as big of a deal. You might want it on different days. I had a class. I usually take Thursdays off. Well, I had a class a couple semesters ago that was like Thursday mornings from 8 to 10:40 or something, and it was, I changed my off day. I went to Tuesday instead of Thursday. So it's not like you can't change that. But I also want to encourage everyone, all the youth ministers who are listening, to find a group of guys that you can go to when you have hit that empty. They can, they can hype you up, be your hype man, but just be there
Before
for you.
burn
Listen,
out.
listen to you. We have a great group, us three, Sam Welsh at Beltline. Like all of us are really good friends outside of ministry. And it's something where we can go to any one of us and just talk ministry and talk the upsetting side, the downsides, I guess we would say, the few downsides of ministry, or just be able to vent to each other about what's going on. So find you a group of guys that you can do that with. If you're having a hard time with ministry, contact us. We're more than happy to sit here and talk ministry with you.
Yeah,
whatever that might be.
and
We'll let Jeremy talk with you this week, and then next week we'll let Michael.
Well, and I will say this, and this is a whole another episode in the future, I think, but we saw this week there were two moments this week where two students that one that the student that went talked to me about some important things, and I prayed with that student and spent some time with them. That's in Hunter's youth group, right? And then I had a student of mine that went to Sam and talked with Sam about some things, and Sam prayed with this student and spent some time. I think there's some important things happening when you have that kind of community of youth ministers together that they care about each other, care about each other's group and their kids, and they build each other up. Man, it's really doing some cool things in our area. And I think there might be something we talk about later, the importance of capitalizing on your area ministry together. But, having that kind of support group and those guys that got your back and that will care about your students and your ministry too, right? Instead of competing with each other, they're loving these students and helping them to grow closer to Christ. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. All right, well, that is going to do it for this episode of the best podcast in the world. Jeremy, thank you so much for for being at the beach.
Are you talking about Lore?
And doing awesome stuff. So
we are the best youth ministry podcast that's recorded on most Mondays or Tuesdays. That's posted on Wednesdays around 7:30.
I don't know how bad it is.
And sometimes on Wednesdays. Yeah.
Sometimes
when we're really pushing it.
Thank y'all so much for listening. Check out our website, oksyouthministry.com. Please subscribe and share our podcast. Make sure that you're rating and reviewing it. The more comments and stuff that you put on our podcast, the more people are going to see it. It's going to get a lot more visibility. I was Googling and searching stuff on Spotify podcasts, and I just checked youth ministry, and the algorithm has started kind of putting ours in about the top 20, and so that's kind of neat.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty neat. So anyways, make sure that you're liking, sharing, subscribing. and listening to our podcast, because that does increase our listenership. Make sure that you're sharing it at all and all that stuff. Again, we're sorry that we were not able to record
We are sorry.
2 episodes in a row, because our summer it got out of control, and we were just not able to do it. So we apologize, but we do hope that you're sticking around with us. And we've heard from several people about how we did not record episodes, and we just apologized and moved
sorry.
on. You know,
Next summer will be
Let me
different.
ask you before you go, who would you say right now is your number one listener at your congregation? Do you want to shout them out?
Well, it's not my wife, I'll tell you that.
I don't know who
not
my
any of
number
our-
one listener is.
I can tell you ours is Coleman McQuiston.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, by
Shout
far.
out to Coleman. Listens every week. Very bitter when we don't have an episode.
He also made an appearance in one of our episodes, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah.
But now I will say I've got another top tier listener right now, Adam Sharp. Shout out to Adam. He's been really digging in.
And he
is
bought a
dad.
hat.
That's
Yes,
awesome.
he wears it all the time. Sammy Benson, one of our elders, been rocking the hat. We got some. I don't know if he's ever listened to a single episode, but he likes a good hat. So, a lot of support out there. So.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for listening. We will be back hopefully next week, and we hope that
Your ministry
Ministry
is blessed.
It's blessed.
Thanks for joining us today in the important conversation of youth ministry. Go and follow us on Instagram and check out oksyouthministry.com for more information about our upcoming episodes. We'll be dropping a new episode every Wednesday morning, and we look forward to talking with you again next week. And hey, it's okay to be the OKS youth minister around, but let's all strive to be just a little bit better.